Yay!
What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Vulnerability Time. As always, I just want to give y'all a quick thank you, as well as the special guests, for supporting this podcast, helping it go international. I literally cannot thank y'all enough. We're here to heal. We're here to heal. That storm that we went through, we're going to turn it to story. It's not in vain. With that being said, welcome to Vulnerability Time. I am your host and published author, Trenton Epizon Rucker. And with us, we have a special guest, Nick. Nick is an ISSA fitness trainer and has over 700K TikTok followers. Huge, massive inspiration Nick is. Nick, tell us a little bit about what got you into, first off, what is ISA stand for?
Yeah. So first I do want to say just happy to be here. Glad to be a part of it. And ISSA is for International Sports Science Association. So it's a personal trainer company they have where you can get your certification, get certified. You could start working in a gym, working with people that need help with their fitness. Or you could also they have recently online fitness coaching as well.
Okay, so you do help train people basically at gyms and whatnot?
Yeah, so I have the regular one, which is certified personal trainer, which is working in the gym. I actually never actually did it though. I just have it kind of just as backup because everything that I do is online. So I have that one as well.
Okay, gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
So what kind of got you into fitness? What started that muscle journey?
Yeah, 100%. I can take it way back to say the full story.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, cool. Well, before we start that, folks, this is our topics today are going to be healing after trauma, giving up, insecurities, and finding yourself. So with that being said, Nick, take it over. Tell us about, because I know some of these topics, relate and fit into your story. There you go. The floor is yours.
All right, awesome. All right, so with fitness and whatnot, I've been doing that since I was probably 14. I was on and off. I was always that super skinny dude, didn't have any muscle, no confidence even. And I was just all right, let me get into a gym. So at 14, I started going to a gym and I was just free winging it. Yeah, so it was just working out and whatnot, but I had no idea what I was doing. It was just eating clean though. That was the main thing. I always had a clean diet, but I wasn't eating the right amount of food or all this stuff when it actually came to a diet, nutrition plan, and hitting those calories and all that stuff. So at that time I was all right, this isn't working. I'm gonna stop, and picked it up around 2020. So this was 6 years later. So now I'm 20 years old. I'm still skinny, because I didn't make that much progress and I stopped. And
he has muscles. He's just being humble. Just go on his Instagram. The man has muscles.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah. And then I was doing just calisthenics because again, this was the time around COVID and all this stuff. So I didn't have access to a gym. Yeah, so calisthenics is basically just body weight exercises. You can still gain muscle, it just takes a bit longer. And there's moves that you can do holding a handstand, for example. Yeah, so I was trying that. And I was just I still wasn't getting the results, but now I had a good foundation off of that. And then I had that consistency because I was doing that for like a couple of months and I was staying consistent. I just wasn't seeing the results basically that I wanted. So I do the calisthenics for a couple of months once again. And then after that, I'm like, yo, I need to get in the gym because like that's where I'm gonna like get the most muscle and all that stuff. So this is a couple of months down the line and I'm just going hard, you know. I'm like, I have the foundation again from like the calisthenics. So like everything was so easy. It was just about like learning and going through trial and error with all this. And then, oh yeah, 100%. Like having that helped a ton to like push more weight. And then even just with my diet, because now I knew a little bit about like, all right, I got to track my macros. I have to be consistent on that part, you know, like it's not just about just eating healthy all day. Like it's about like the actual food when it comes down to it, like the nutritional value and like all that stuff. So yeah, that's basically it. Just from there, just rinse and repeat that. And it's actually pretty crazy. I actually myself, as of yesterday, invested into a fitness coach myself to maximize those gains, to be honest. So yeah, just keep learning, just being a student of the game, and just from here on out, just to keep doing that.
Right. You know, something really cool that you mentioned, you know, the whole trial and error thingy and not seeing the results that you wanted to see. You know, I find it very encouraging and inspiring that, you know, you kept on pushing, even though, you know, because I know just in, you know, a lot of areas and situations in life, you know, when we're not seeing the results we wanted, when we're putting in the work, it kind of seems like, well, is this for nothing? You know, have you felt like that, you know, in your journey of not seeing the results just yet?
Yeah, so like I definitely felt that when like I was in the gym for a little bit. Like this was probably like this time last year, like last summer of 2021. And I was like, I gained a lot of like size fast, but it was like I was just eating and eating and eating. So they call it like the bulk, right? So like you pack on a lot of size fast, but it's kind of just like fat in a sense. Like it wasn't just like solid muscle. So I was like top heavy, but I wasn't like, I didn't look fit. I didn't look like I had like a summer body or anything. So like at that point, I was just like eating and eating and eating. And I was like just looking fat and I wasn't getting any sort of results or looking the way basically that I wanted. So I had to like go back to the drawing board and try to like figure that out. But this was like over time too. It wasn't just like one day I was like, all right, I'm gonna do this, you know, like I was like, I still have to keep eating to make sure I preserve my size and like track the macros and keep working out and all this. So like that like stopped the gains for a little bit, but eventually just had to take some time, just go back to the drawing board and like realize, okay, like what do you want to look like now?
Right.
Basically. Yeah.
That's okay. Going back to the drawing board, that's huge. You know, whether it's like, you know, a muscle journey or just some type of goal in life, you know, the theme of trial and error and going back to the drawing board basically, you know, kind of like speaks to me of like, you know, it is okay to, you know, go back to step one and try again or to do something different. It's okay. Not everything's gonna happen overnight and it's not necessarily supposed to happen overnight. So I think that that's really cool and that's something that I wish I heard growing up, you know what I mean? Like trial and error, it's okay. Like it's okay to, you know, if you have to go back to step one, fine, you know, go back to step one because at the end of the day, you know, we're gonna reach that goal. There really like, ooh, I do like this saying, you know, practice makes progress, not perfection. Yeah, would you agree?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so it's like so just, you know, someone listening can definitely get some, you know, encouragement, or someone listening right now probably needs to hear that, you know, one, whether you're on your muscle journey or just, muscles can be symbolic in your life right now, as well. It's okay to go back to step one. It's okay if you're, made a few mistakes. It's okay to try again. It's okay to try something different, to get a goal that you are looking for. So Nick, I think that's actually really cool that, that theme that you just brought up through your own journey, bringing that thing to kind of like, help people and things like that. That's huge, honestly, because a lot of people don't hear that. A lot of people just see, they just see the end result of something, like when we're looking at others or looking on the stage, you know what I mean? But we're not seeing what happened behind the stage, what happened that led up to the stage, the moments where they wanted to quit, the moments that they did quit, the moments that they, got back up again, So I think that that's really important that you shared that about your journey. Yes, because I'm seeing results. Yes, I'm seeing results. So I think that that's really interesting that you, and I'm saying that as well because, people are listening to this, they can't see you physically like I can. Folks, I'm seeing those results, and I didn't know this, coming into this episode with Nick, that all that was behind the scenes. So thanks for sharing that, Nick.
Yeah, I even wanted to add just one more thing, like literally currently, like I said, how I invested into the coach yesterday. Like even now, like, okay, now my physique looks like good and whatnot. It's like I'm constantly like leveling up my standards. And I feel like this can apply to like a lot of people just listening to, like, it's never like you reach a certain goal and then that's it. Like when you get to the top of the mountain, like you got to be able to stay at the top of the mountain, and then you got to be able to climb the next mountain. You know what I mean? So like always leveling up my standards and like always wanting to learn more about like just like fitness and whatnot. Like with this coach, to be honest, it's like it's very precise. Like everything, like every macro to its core, because like when I was doing it, like when I was saying I was like super top heavy and all this stuff, and even recently it's been like I'm watching the macros, but it's not like my carbs are exactly 45 grams for the day, let's just say, you know what I mean? My protein is 150 grams. I was kind of just being like, all right, I'll hit like 170 for the protein, even though it's like 175. No, I'm like, okay, super dialed in, like everything to its core. So it's like I went from not doing this at all to going like top heavy and then like leaning out, looking good. But now it's just about time to turn even like more towards core, like more just dialed in and just more,
right,
I guess just like, yeah, like not like, I don't want to say like perfect, but just like with all this to just like make it tighter, I guess. I don't know, it's kind of hard to like explain.
I mean, you said it right,
just,
like,
yeah,
your standards would change. Yeah, it's like reaching that goal. I think that's
reaching the goal, and then to like not just stop there, to continually to like progress, like progress over perfection and all that stuff. And just like perfect practice equals perfect results too, in a sense. I know I just kind of contradicted, but like it still like applies to that, to this scenario, I feel.
Gotcha. Yes, sir. So something that that also kind of made me think of is the whole the topic of giving up. What about that topic resonates with you?
Yeah. I mean, I can tie this to fitness. I can tie this to literally everything.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like fitness wise, I will say there's been times where I'm just like, I just feel like, what's the point? Or just be like, all right, my physique is good. Like I can take like 2 weeks off. But it's like, no, you have to keep constantly going to make sure like your physique is up to par, and always getting better with all this. And then even just with the food, like I'm just like, do I have to track my macros today? Or, do I have to eat chicken and rice? But it's like, no, like, let me do this because I know if I stop, like, I'm not going to get the results and everything's just going to go downhill. Because, like,
Right.
there's a quote, it's like, how you do anything is how you do everything. So it's like, if you don't make your bed in the morning, like, that's going to affect so many other things. Like, you're probably like more lazy, unmotivated to do things. Just using that as an example. But, it's like, how proficient are you just with everything that you do? Because it's like a cycle. It all like applies off of one thing and it goes into everything else. So like I notice when I want to give up, a lot of those things, like even just making my bed, are just off. Even just my macros or waking up at the same time, for instance. Yeah, I would say.
Yeah. Is there a point in your life where, whether it's muscles or just life in general, is there a point in your life where, you have quote unquote given up? And the reason why I say quote unquote, I'm going to explain that after. But is there a reason, is there a moment in your life where you have given up?
I would say, like, business wise, I will say, like, there's been points where I just feel like throwing in the towel, but like, I don't know. Giving up, like, I feel like I've always like been consistent with something, or like persevered through it. Like, the only thing I felt like was giving up was when I was like 15 and I was trying to like become an NBA player, and like I would work and work and work, but I ended up not even making the basketball team at my school. And even though the varsity coach was like, Nick is the hardest worker I ever saw, and blase and all this stuff, but like he didn't put me on the team, and I feel like that was my like turning point to be like, all right, I got to do something else. Like I don't know, like for me, like I've never really given up on something until I gave it my absolute all and I couldn't do anything more. Like how I just said with the coach, like that was like that turning point to be like, because I was doing basketball before that for like, I would say like 5 to 6 years, like consistently trying to get better. And that's when I was like 14, trying to get in the gym as well. So it was just a lot of like work. And it's like, all right, it didn't work out. I'm just going to pivot and figure something else out.
And that's why I said quote unquote, because it's like giving up. I mean, of course that has a negative connotation to it, however, I feel like people can place the word giving up on moving on from something and trying something different. Like you said, like you gave it your absolute all, but if it wasn't for you getting rejected / redirected, rejected from the basketball team, you might not have gotten on this muscle journey or moved on to something else, if that makes sense, at that time. And then also with giving up, and I say quote unquote giving up, is because, well, I mean, let's say someone quote unquote gave up on, let's say, okay, cool, their muscle journey, okay, and then 10 years later they pick it back up, and then they got this, they got where they wanted with it. So that's what the word giving up, I'm very, I feel like it's more than just a black and white story. It can be kind of gray, the word giving up, and I wonder if that's even the right word, or maybe it is the right word, just has a negative connotation. I feel like some situations, it could be necessary to have that, negative connotation, but I feel like other situations, maybe, because I mean, it's like, honestly, it's not over until it's over. Like, did you really, or did you give up, or did you just take a long break? So I mean, I want this to like encourage someone, did you really give up? Because at the end of the day, like, your life's still going on, you're still waking up out of bed, you know, who knows what, you know, the next 5 years of your life is going to look like, you know. So I want to say that to give folks some grace on themselves and to release, you know, that shame and that pressure. Sorry, I'm like choking, but to release that
Hey, you
shame
good.
and pressure, because what if you just need a break? Maybe you just need a break. Maybe, you
Mhm.
know, you need to recover from that impact of that rejection. Or maybe, you know, as you're recovering, you could try something else new, you know, like you did, Nick. Yeah, because I mean, who's to say, you know, in 20 years from now, you're not going to join an intramural basketball team, you
Right?
know?
Yeah.
So it's like, is it
Yeah. Who
really
knows?
over until it's over? I feel like
Hmm.
it's over when you're in the grave. That's when it's over. Because every day that you're waking up and breathing, that is symbolic of hope. That is symbolic of faith. That is symbolic of, and this is very, you know, underrated, but and it's not talked about, but you waking up every day, that is a sign that you have hope, even though it doesn't feel like it. You know what I mean? Sometimes hope
Hmm.
isn't always a feeling or a mindset. Sometimes hope is an action, and it can be the smallest things that are actually huge, like waking up out of bed. You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
getting up, eating, doing, that's symbolic of hope. That also is hope. So for folks out there who think they have given up on something, or who feel bad that they have given themselves a break on something, or think that they're not going anywhere in life, or that, like, I want to encourage y'all. You woke out of bed today, okay? How things are right now might not be how things are gonna be in 5 years from now. Who knows when you're gonna pick something back up that you quote unquote gave up, you know?
Hmm.
You are making some progress, folks. You know, you're waking up out of bed, and remember, not everything has to happen in the snap of a finger. It's okay that, you know, mistakes happen. It's okay to take a break. Don't sell yourself too short, you know. That's why I'm kind of really cautious of the word giving up being thrown around. I feel like we really got to know the individual situation, you know, because it's easy to just throw, oh, giving up, you know. For example, like a quick story. When I was working, there's this job that I had when during my undergrad, in college, during the summer undergrad, excuse me. Um, Sorry, I'm burping. I was making good money for my age. I was making really good money for an undergrad college student. I was actually making really good money, but the place was so unhealthy for me mentally. So like,
Hmm.
and I know my mother meant well. She meant well, but you know, she definitely threw the word giving up in there. Like, oh, well, if you don't want to give up, don't give up, you know. And she's also of faith too, so she was like, well, you know, don't give up, you know, God doesn't want you to give up, don't give up, things like that, you know. And I look back now and I'm like, was the word, and I felt pressured, so I stayed in that place that harmed me mentally, honestly. Like, when I left that place, you know, because I had to go back to school, I was recovering for like 6 months straight from the mental torment that I was going through in that place. um and I stayed in that unhealthy environment because of the word I don't want to quote unquote give up, you know what I mean? And so I'm
Hmm.
like, maybe no, I think completely I should have given up. And that word given up, that's followed by, I should have put myself first. I should have, I could have put myself first. I could have listened to my mental health and did what's best for me. I tried my absolute best. So on the outside, it can look like giving up. However, what it was internally was, I needed to listen to my mental health. I needed to listen to my body. I've tried everything. I needed to listen. I needed to do what's best for me. There's a fine line between, giving up and just doing what's best for you. Some things you have to place down. Some things not everything, just because, look, if something's like extremely unhealthy to you, for example, like a toxic relationship, and you're like, I just don't want to give up on them. If they are harming you constantly, folks, and I mean, I'm just using this as an example, Nick. I'm not pointing this at you or anything. I just
Yeah, you're good. You're good. Yeah.
It's like, don't let that pressure of quote unquote giving up make you stay in an unhealthy situation that is so detrimental to your health in all aspects. I feel like the word giving up shouldn't have always a negative connotation to it. Like the word quitting, I feel like that shouldn't have a negative connotation to it, because there are some things in life you have to quit. Like we sometimes we praise quitting a job. I mean, if the job's unhealthy for you, if they're not treating you right, if like, let's say if a job that comes along pays you more, treats you right, you're gonna quit the other job that's not doing that and go to this job that is, treating you right, paying you a lot more money. See, we praise that when we use the word quitting. We praise the word quit when it's that. But what if it's like something that's unseen, like your mental health, like your physical health? What if it's affecting that? So I mean, all that to say, your story, I really liked how you mentioned about your basketball tryout, and how that shifted your direction to try something new. So
yeah,
was it really giving up?
It was so like pivoting, man. And to be honest, because I remember too, like there's more to that, like because I did the basketball, and then I was like, all right, let me do track and field, and then I did that literally that's like spring, and I was doing like long jump, so it's like when you jump into the pit of like sand. So
yes, I'm a track and field person.
Yeah. Okay, got you. Yeah. So like I was doing that, and then what's so crazy is that I had a scholarship for it. Like college reached out, and you don't want to say like everything. I know it's like everything happens for a reason, but like everything really does. And what's even crazy about that is that I didn't take the scholarship because I was like, I didn't want to do it, to be honest. And then I started making videos because like deep down, that's what I wanted to do. And then like ever since then, it's so crazy how everything can just like align. And when you actually go for like your actual purpose though.
Exactly. And that's what you just said, like pivoting, like that redirection, folks. Like maybe that it's necessary, maybe giving up, like it's maybe a redirection. And you had, the scholarship, but you just said, what did you really want to do? This is your life. This is your life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's what's important, because I was in track and cross country, okay? But is that something that I really wanted to do? No, not at all. That's not, I was pressured into doing that just because my family has gotten accolades and been on the news for track and stuff like that. I wasn't bad at it, but I mean, I wasn't the best. I mean, I've hit first place 2-3 times, but the point is, that's not, I ended up being unhappy, and I was in a way pressured from that word. Oh, well, if you give up this, I wanted to do something different, but I didn't take that opportunity then. I mean, I took it eventually, but in the aspects of my track and cross country journey, I wasn't in field. I was in track and cross country, but track and field go together, yada, yada, yada. For those 2 years, I could have used that time to do something that I really wanted to do. Not saying, it turns out I ended I ended up, receiving benefits from cross country, like my stamina increased. I have not conditioned in like what 3 years, yet I can easily still run a mile in under 5 minutes. Literally. Oh gosh, I'm just
Yeah.
passed out though, but I could do it
Mhm.
still till this day. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Hmm.
And a couple of my friends listening right now, they know this because I've ran with them and beat them. But anyways, yeah, it's so what I'm saying, folks, is like if you redirect and do something that you truly do want to do, doesn't mean that you didn't take benefit from what you're redirecting from. It's just saying that word given up, that life doesn't stop there. Basically, like just because you quote unquote give up something, it may be because you want to try something else. What do you really want to do on the inside? However, on the outside, people are gonna be like, well, that's giving up. No, maybe you're just listening to yourself, and this is your life. It's what you want to do all this time, now I don't beat myself up anymore for staying in track. Eventually I got out because that's what I wanted to do, but that's what I wanted to do, was get out. I don't beat myself up anymore. However, if this was like another life, I would have just gracefully told myself and asked myself, what do you want to do? Is this really giving up? Because honestly, what do you want to do? Because when you give up something, life's still gonna go on. There's always tomorrow. There's always today. There's so much to do out there, so much to learn, so much to experience. Yeah, don't that word can definitely, excuse me, that statement can definitely keep folks in unhappy situations and unhealthy situations to the point of um, complete surrender, complete shoot, even death. Honestly, to they get to the end of their life and they're asked, they see like where they regret, because they're like, am I living for my, like, I wish I lived for myself more, pretty much. I've heard a lot of elderly people say that. So boom, does that all make sense?
Yeah, like I totally agree. Like I feel like the only thing is like if the give up is like it means it, like what it actually means is when you're faced with a problem and you look the other way, or you're just like, whatever, I can't do that. And then you just like cry in your bed at night because like you couldn't, for whatever the reason is, you're just like, I can't do it. Like I feel like that's the only exception. But like again, it's like if you're what's the word? Pushing through it all and like trying your hardest, you're doing everything you possibly can to like achieve that goal, and it's not working, then like it's just about pivoting. That's not you giving up. That's not, because you're putting in the effort, you're doing the daily actions, right? Like you're doing everything you possibly can, you're trying. Because like there's something with like ASAP Rocky, I don't know if you saw it, but it was like why don't you try it? Like the people that try are like cool type of thing. He was kind of like elaborating on it. Like you'd rather try than not try at all. And that's where it's like, if there's a problem in your way and you just give up, like just from the get, like that's you not trying. But if you're trying, that's cool. And like, that's you just have to pivot if it doesn't work in your favor. There's something down the line that's going to eventually work out for you. And you're going to have so much more like abundance and fun with it.
Basically, like, what's the context behind it, pretty much, is what you're saying.
Yeah. Cool. And even, like, I was also going to add just one more thing. Like,
yes, please.
When you're on that journey of, like, the one thing that you're trying to pursue and it's not working, you're learning lessons every single day, right? So, like, for example, even with, like, for me, it was, like, the basketball didn't work out. But for me, like, I didn't know what confidence was and whatnot, right? So like I had to learn that on my basketball journey. It was literally like I remember it finally, like, it was like I had an epiphany. I was at this basketball camp thing and whatnot, and the coach like pulls me over. He's like, dude, like, what are you doing right now? Like, what do you think you just did wrong? Because I like messed up on in the game. And he was like, I was like saying all these things. I was like, oh, I didn't do this, I didn't do that. He's like, no, it was your confidence. And I was like, whoa, what's that? And then he was like, oh, okay, let's take a step back. So like ever since then, I dove into like, okay, what is confidence? Like, what is this? What is this that I'm lacking and whatnot? So like you'll learn certain things, even if it's not going in your favor, you're always learning lessons as you go along your journey. And once again, it all goes back to pivoting. And it's like you can take those lessons and apply it to the new thing that you're trying to do, whatever that is.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good point. That's a really good point. Interesting.
Some deep stuff.
Yeah, it makes
some crazy stuff. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, that's fine. We go deep here. Vulnerability time. But yeah, no, that's really really think. I'm like, it makes me think. I've never heard that before.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Thanks, Nick.
Yeah.
So something that does that I did want to touch on. So Nick, I know one of the topics that really stood out to you was healing after trauma.
Oh yeah.
What does that mean to you? What's that story, that journey? What does that look like?
Yeah. So can I talk about like before the healing of, like, can I describe what the trauma was and then how it tied into how I healed from it? I think it would give more context.
Literally anything that you want. This is your episode. This ain't my episode.
All right, yeah.
Whatever you want.
Yeah. Okay, cool. All right, so it kind of ties into everything, even just with the working out and all this stuff. So again, just so you guys know, like 2020, I start working out. I go to the gym. So there's this one friend. I'm not gonna say his name, just for obvious reasons, because we're on the air and everything. But this one friend was the only friend that I had at the time. I was a college dropout. I had no direction. I had no confidence and all this stuff and whatnot. And he was like the only dude at the time that was on quote unquote a mentor and also a friend of mine. And he was
to say first names, by the way.
I can say the first name?
You could say first name. If you want.
His name was honestly, I'd rather just I don't want to. Yeah. We'll just say friend. He was my friend at the time. Yeah. And he was cool, on the surface level, like, because at the time I was also shooting music videos, because I was a college dropout once again. So I was trying to figure something out. I didn't want to do the norm, basically. And I was working a 9-to-5 too at the time. And I reached out to him because I saw he was doing a music video shoot, like literally where my job was, like at the mall that was right next to my job. So it was so crazy how it worked out the first time that I met him. It was just like I was on break and he was shooting the music video. I literally went to the mall and introduced myself because like a day before that, we were like talking a little bit. And he was like, yeah, dude, like you seem cool, blah, 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 blah. So we meet, I talk to him, he sees I'm a cool dude and whatnot. So we meet and all this stuff. It's a really cool vibe, right? After this, he's like 20 minutes from where I live. We start hanging out and he's showing me how to shoot music videos correctly because I was shooting on this crap Canon T6i camera. I don't know if you're familiar with cameras, but like it's not the best camera, while he had something that was like just better, just more efficient. He was shooting like really crispy videos. I was shooting like just trash, to be honest. So he put me under his wing, and a little bit of time passes. I'm going on shoots because he was getting a lot of like rappers and artists and all this stuff and whatnot. And I was just tagging along. And one day he asked me, yo, do you want to be like my assistant? And at the time I had really nothing else going for me. And I was just like, yeah, sure. Like, let's do it. 19, 20-year-old me. And I was like, yeah, for sure. And it's like 2 weeks pass, we're going on shoots and, mind you, this is going to be a job, right? So like, I'm going to be getting paid and like nothing was happening. So this was like red flag number one from the get. And mind you, this was just a little bit of like hanging out plus him like showing me how to do things and whatnot. And I was like, hey dude, like what's going on? Like, I thought I'm gonna be your assistant and whatnot. He's like, oh, well, like I thought you could just like help me out and like all this stuff with the music videos and like hold the light for me and like little things and hang out, right? Like trying to be really friendly. So me 19, I wasn't really aware and all this stuff yet, even just with like how people are, and all this stuff. So that happens, time passes. I'm just like, all right, you know what? I can still learn from him and whatnot. So we actually stopped doing the music videos. I wound up not even getting 1 cent out of any, actually just one because it came from me or something. Instead of him. So like I got paid actually just half of that because he was on the shoot. Pretty crazy to be honest. From there, he stopped doing music videos. He started doing something else with his wife and like some like photography business or something. And I wound up just like going hard on TikTok. So now we're kind of drifting a little bit. But he would be like, yo, dude, do you want to hang out and whatnot and just like work and blah, blah, blah. So I would like bring my laptop basically to his house type of thing. We would just work because the thing is that with his wife, he was communicating with her like from like, I think it was like Canada. So like they weren't together yet. So he was kind of just using me in a sense to have somebody around him like a lot of the time because I would just be like, yeah, sure, let's hang out because I thought it was like genuine and whatnot. And sometimes when I would pull up to his house, oh man, just, grab the popcorn, man. This is about to get crazy. Okay, so this dude, like his house was not like a normal standard house, like had stuff everywhere. He lived with his dad, so like his dad was like a hoarder, and if you opened up his garage, it would just be filled to the brim, like all the way to the ceiling of just crap everywhere. And like one day he wanted to like go through the garage to find like quarters to like save money, the friend that I had. So, and mind you, I pulled up to his house because he said, did you want to hang out? That's all I had like as context. And I was like, yeah, sure, I'm coming. And then I pull it to his house and he's saying like, yo, we're going to look for quarters and whatnot in like this garage. So mind you, we're taking stuff now out of this garage that is like filled once again of just shit everywhere. So like taking things out, throwing it on the front lawn, throwing it. I think there was like a window that was like kind of broken in the garage. We like threw stuff through the window into the backyard. And some like other stuff. So like, causing damage to the house basically. And even just like more crazy stuff. Like we, again, I would pull up to his house and I wouldn't even know that I would be like, painting his basement with him or something, let's just say, like it felt like I was just doing duty work for him and I wasn't even getting paid. He never was like, yo, you want like $300? I'll spot you for this. He did it in other ways by like paying for meals, but like, a $20 meal compared to like painting a whole room, like dude. But anyways, there was even where he had like a balcony on the second floor of his house, and we literally would throw like shit, again, like all this stuff from like his dad or just from him into the backyard. And I remember there was one day where it was just filled with stuff of just like crap and like broken glass, all these things. This is like mind you, this is, I think, like 2 summers ago. And I just wanted a friend, to be honest. I wanted a mentor, somebody who could just show me the things like, dude, you got to do this. You got to, this isn't working. Okay, do this. Bro, I got you, type of thing. And it's like, it was there on the surface, but deep down there was something more. And it was like with him too, like it was nasty. It was manipulative. He would use his, like what I said and try to flip it, and he would become the victim type of thing. He would, like for one scenario, it was like, I forget what exactly it was. It was, I remember we were driving and we drove, because like the way it is like by him, it's like kind of like Queens, New York area. If you guys aren't familiar with that, it's like there's Long Island, which is where like I'm at. So it's like the strip of just basically like houses and all this stuff, like very suburby. And then if you go like towards like Manhattan or New York City, it's like it starts to go more like urban area. So like Queens is kind of like that. So that's kind of like where he was. But there was another friend that we would go to that was in more deeper in Queens. So the way it would work is that I would drive to my friend's house, and then we would go from his house to the guy that was deeper in Queens to hang out with. So I remember one time I had to drive literally from my house to deeper Queens. So mind you, this is like 45, almost like a 50-minute ride. Yeah. And there was one time where I was like, yo, can I get some gas money? And he was like, oh, like we're boys. I thought like, you don't need gas money. You know what I'm saying? Like, why is it gotta da and all these things, right? Or I think it was like for the Manhattan, I don't remember exactly, but it was just something that was very toxic, manipulative. And mind you, I forgot to leave this all out. This dude's like 27, 28 now. So at the time he was like 20, 26, 25. You know, like this is a grown ass man. And like me at like 19, I'm just like, whoa, what is going on? Like, cause like, I'm just like, what, this is so much. It goes way deeper. I can't remember honestly at this moment, but there was just a lot of that stuff going on. And again, on the surface, I thought it was all good. I thought it was like, oh, he's just being a friend right now. Or like, there was also a part of me that's like, because I didn't have anybody else, like as a friend, a mentor, that I would be like, oh, like I'm all alone and I don't know what's going to happen now because I don't have him around or any guidance and whatnot. So, but yeah, I will say that he was the one that got me into working out, because like back in 2020, I was like, that's who I asked. And he said, yeah, just get in the gym and just like work on your physique and all that stuff. So I will say props to that. He showed me a couple of things. But yeah, at the end of the day, like he wasn't a really good friend, looking back, and just like messed up stuff. And with him, yeah, to be honest. And I still think about it to this day. There's still like thoughts and whatnot, with all that. And, you know, for a little bit, it did mess with me, just like my mindset, right? Because like this time last year, we kind of really drifted, because then going back to where like he was working with his wife, like from Canada, she moved into the house that has, you know, the stuff all the way to the top in the garage with him. And then he was distancing me even more. It would go like weeks and months without talking, even through text and whatnot. So like he was just using me as a barrier, because like he was just like, oh, I don't need you anymore. I got my wife now. Like I'm good and whatnot. So, yeah. Oh yeah. Oh man, there's way more. So I can tell you how it even ended with this dude is that, yeah, his wife was here and he had to get his car done, and we haven't seen each other in a couple of weeks. So again, this is like summer of last year. And so he needs to get his car to the dealership. I pick him up. We go. He drops his car off. We go to the gym. He's acting very weird because he's like saying things. I don't know if can I say like certain like derogatives towards a race on here, or can like I don't want to say too much.
It's vulnerability time. Go.
Okay.
Yeah. It's vulnerability
like these
time.
aren't
Say whatever.
Like I just want everyone to know these are not my words. This is what this friend or mentor of mine said. So like I remember it was this encounter where at this gym that we were at, I saw this one dude. He's a white dude like me. I know you guys can't see what I physically look like, but I'm like white Caucasian, technically European, but anyways, I got a tan right now, but I saw this dude. He went to my gym. I was like, yo, what's up, man? I was going to introduce him to the mentor, and he just blatantly just walked by, didn't acknowledge anybody, and whatnot, and just kept going on with the workout. And then I just said, hi and bye to the dude. Good to see you type of thing. Keep working out. I go up to the friend and I'm like, yo, dude, what just happened? I was going to introduce you to him. He's like, oh, I don't like white people. Mind you, he's hanging out with a white dude. And more context, he's Latino. So I'm just like, okay, like you're hanging out with a white dude and he's like, oh, whites are racist and all this stuff. So like, he was just off. This is not usually what I hear from him. So I was like, I knew there was something like, I don't know, maybe something he ate for breakfast or whatever that day. So I'm like, okay, this is really weird. We finished up at the gym and we go back to his house. We're working on our laptops and whatnot. And just acting so weird, like just with everything. And I feel every time I've had a friend, and this is some weird, I don't know if anybody can relate to this, but I've had this weird thing when I can just feel when a relationship or a friendship with somebody is gonna die. Like it's gonna die today.
Yeah.
So I remember I was looking out the window and we're just working. I'm like, something doesn't feel right. I think today is the day that our friendship is gonna end. And to just let me finish and you'll see.
Dude,
like,
go for it.
Yeah. Like, okay. So then after that, like, we go pick up the car, right? Like after we were working and all this stuff. And we're in the car. Mind you, his wife is in the car. She's, here visiting or something. I don't know. I don't remember. And I was trying to hang out with him too because we were just like working. We went to the gym. We were trying to I think it was like throw a football or something. And mind you, I'm driving. He's in the passenger, girl's in the back. And I'm like, yo, dude, like, you want to throw the football when we come back? And he was like blatantly just ignoring me. He's like, oh, I don't know. And then like his wife was like talking about some Starbucks order she wanted. And he was like, oh, bubbly and googly, honey bear. Yeah, sure, blah, 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 to some Starbucks order that she was going to order. Like she didn't even put in the order yet type of thing. It was just on her phone. While I'm just trying to hang out with him and be like, yo, dude, do you want to like throw the football when we come back? And he just giving me the cold shoulder and just like not acknowledging me. Because mind you, I'm doing him a favor, by the way, too, in this scenario, because we're going to pick up his car. So we get to the dealership and shit, man, it's so crazy. I still remember it to this day. Gets out of the car, doesn't even say thank you or anything, just treats me like, I guess, like an Uber driver. And they just leave, go pick up the car. Luckily, wait, hold on. Let me backtrack a little bit. So at this point, I'm getting furious. I'm just like, dude, he's just blatantly just...
Stay tuned for part 2.